Welcome to Deeply
Is that the cat bumping that?
Disturbing Things.
Okay, keep going.
The
podcast. That's
I'm
my
Macie.
part.
I know you stopped.
And I'm Naomi.
And we're two anxious counselors
Talking about disturbing things.
with our friend Sarah.
Hi guys.
We believe normal is boring. Oh God, I don't even know what we believe.
And cats are fun.
Knowledge is power, laughter is the best medicine, and Obi is a ball of destruction.
Just a few moments ago, there was a, should I let him in? What's the worst he gonna do? I was like, oh.
Oh yeah.
He's like power nudging our tripod with our camera.
Power nudge.
He needs all the love.
All the love.
And destruction.
So I really think this room is cute. For little Stella, but all the dolls are terrifying.
Those are her babies.
It's terrifying. They're all like tucked in, and
She loves to have all her babies laying
Dude,
down comfy.
you realize like my whole behind me is little porcelain babies staring at me tucked into bed. Like it's
What
like
if you just feel something tap you on the back?
It'll probably be
I'm gonna
Obi.
join you over there, Sarah. Oh man.
Maybe we'll do a tour of the baby dolls for our patrons. If you want to support us, be our patron on
Mhm.
Patreon. It's only $1.
If you want us to dress up for next week for Halloween, let us know. Maybe give us some ideas. We may use it, we may not, but either way, we may dress up.
I'm
we may
only gonna be something that I can make out of items in my house that I already own.
Toilet paper, you can be a mummy. She's
Perfect.
sick.
It's just a cold and I'm past the contagious part.
Right. I
That
get to
was
go
last
first.
week.
I get to go first today.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm fucking
Born ready.
ready.
Born ready. Born ready.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Aw, Sarah's cuddling Obi and it looks
It's
really
adorable.
precious.
You're adorable. Here, I can show it with this one. Look at that. Oh,
Aw.
so cute. Okay, so I'm going to talk a bit about people doing bad things to candy for kids on
Oh my
Halloween.
God. We both have Halloween related.
Well, it's,
topics.
I mean, if I had to guess, that would be the one guess.
I mean, I guess that's not.
Far off. We like to be
Can
a
you
little
make the
topical.
cursor on your computer not stabbing me in the
on your
chin?
chin.
It's really distracting me. I feel like I
Fine.
could actually feel it right there, like poking me.
Me too. Obi's making out with Sarah. It's great. Keep distracting him over there. Okay, so that's my topic. And first of all, have you heard the like worried parents of like there's people are gonna
Heard them.
drugs?
I am them.
Oh, good.
I am the worried
Yeah.
parent.
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
Well, back when I was little, that's when the whole scare first happened, and we could take our Halloween candy to the ER department and they would x-ray it. So I grew up like with the real fear like in my face.
Mhm.
And then having kids is always like I would go through it and check it first.
Open, kind of sketchy.
And I would tell them like bite it slowly in case there's a razor blade inside.
I'm so glad that you have this real world context for people because you're not the only one. Like there's many parents that.
Oh yeah, it's
have
real.
it. So I'm going to talk a little
I'm glad
bit.
I'm going second because it's actually a good build up.
Okay, good,
build
good.
up of yours.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the actual times that things like that have happened. And then I'm going to tell one specific case. So one of the first tales of tainted treats was over 50 years ago on October 31st, 1959, California dentist
Yeah, see?
William V.
California.
Shine decided to play a very mean practical joke. He handed out 450 candy-coated laxatives to trick-or-treaters.
That's hilarious. What a funny joke.
So he gave those, so like they came and knocked on the door and he'd give them laxative candy. So no one seemed to know like why he did it, but 30 kids, he got pretty sick. And one actually suffered like really like what they called irreparable harm from it. The laxatives were quickly traced back to his house. He was charged with several crimes, including outrage of public decency. Outrage.
Well, it's not decent.
What?
Pull his license.
This is why I have dental.
I bet they
phobia.
didn't back then. This is 50 years ago. They probably were like, slap on the wrist,
Yeah.
give us your laxatives. Don't.
Yeah. Don't do that again.
So don't do that again. More children may poop themselves on the street. Like, that's what I'm curious is like, how many, like, when did they find out? Was it when they finally get home and the parents are like, what is happening? Sugar fueled diarrhea children? That's terrifying.
Well, it's probably like when it was just your kid, you're like, oh, they just have the shits. But then you hear like, oh, my kid had the shits too.
Mhm, mhm.
And then it just spreads and spreads.
Yeah. So I'm sure guessing like one kid had a really bad reaction to it and went to the hospital or something like that. Okay. So what about the like razor blade and the apple thing? You know, you've heard that, like, or candy, I guess.
Candy. I mean, I would not accept an apple as a trick or treat item.
Healthy,
I would keep moving.
I mean, that's a whole
Next house.
different topic,
Yeah.
whole disturbing topic of like, keep your health shit to yourself, please. I'm here with a bag for
Stop pushing
candy.
your agenda.
Yeah,
on
like
Halloween.
if I'm here asking you for a Snickers bar and you don't have a Snickers bar, break my heart and let me walk away. Don't give me a kind bar, Sarah.
Okay.
Well, and by the time you get the apple back to your house after it's been jostling around in a sack of candy,
It's
it's
all
going to be all
bruised.
bruised and mushy anyway.
And your own razor blade may get stuck to it in the bottom of your bag, and then you blame it on someone else. Okay, so according to Professor Joel Best, there have been approximately 80 reports of sharp objects inserted into Halloween treats since 1959. 80.
Report.
Well, I feel like most people would report that. I don't know. I would. If I was a parent, I probably would report that. Yeah. Okay. So the great majority of those, however, turned out to be hoaxes. But like, keep in mind, it was often hoaxes by people, like often like friends, pranking friends, putting things in things, or kids getting angry at parents and putting it in parent stuff, which is not talked about. Maybe parents need to be more afraid on Halloween.
Parents should fear their kids, maybe. I don't
Right.
know.
So
What else do they put in there? Because
poison. So in one case, a kid put ant poison on a half-eaten candy bar to get a rise out of his parents. So he gave
did
them,
they rise?
I mean,
Right, we got it.
from the grave. No, they didn't die. They
Because
were
I'm
fine.
thinking like razor blades,
Right.
needles,
Right. Poison.
glass.
Glass.
Yeah.
I mean, so really like the idea of like sharp things in food, 80 since 1959, and vast majority were like people who knew each other doing a hoax, not like somebody
Mhm.
trying to harm children at large sort of thing. So I thought that was good to know.
Yeah.
The few verified instances of stranger on trick-or-treater candy sabotage was in 2000 when James Joseph Smith was arrested after sticking needles in Snickers.
See?
Right. But
Snickers is perfect because it's kind of pillowy. You can really hide a lot of items in
Right.
there, I think.
Mhm, I agree.
I
Yeah,
like Snickers. It's one of the only candies I like.
Reese's are good. See, I feel like a Reese's would be a good one because you could tell if it's been tampered with.
Because you could see.
Yeah, it has a good chocolate seal. So you just like, hey, if that seal's broken, don't eat it. Yeah, deal's off. Stranger danger. So, but even with that, there was only one injury of someone who had a slight prick in their mouth. Nobody else got injured at all from doing it. Most people saw it,
No
found
one
it.
My
smelled
mind
it.
just
No.
went straight to the gutter when you said that. I apologize.
A slight prick to the mouth.
You said in
I
the
don't.
mouth.
I don't understand.
You said in the mouth.
A slight prick in the mouth.
You said it.
Podcast name. All right.
No, we'll get banned.
Yeah, you might get.
This is why we're never going to get monetized on YouTube because
We
we're
have adult
our
baby diaper
filthy,
lovers.
filthy
I mean,
minds
Come on.
and mouths.
You can't filter goodness.
I know, but YouTube is picky.
All right, fine. Whatever. It was a good one. Okay. So so how about the real boogeyman? Law enforcement officers haven't had to scour neighborhoods to find the perpetrators. Oh, there's only been 2 deaths that have been linked to Halloween candy ever. Too many, I say.
Well, the thought of a razor in my mouth just gives me the EBGBs. So
Ew,
bad.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
you
It's
don't
like a
have to
paper
die,
cut.
just having your freaking gums or tongue cut. I mean, that's just horrifying. to
Remember the
think
death
about.
by 1,000 paper cuts episode? Like the like,
Yeah, it's just
Uh,
not okay.
no, okay. So all they had to do is visit homes. The first death occurred in 1970 when a 5-year-old Michigan boy died after ingesting a horrific amount of heroin.
Oh.
Right. Tests on his Halloween candy found heroin dust, setting parents on high alarm. Obviously, police discovered that the boy had stumbled across his uncle's heroin stash and mistakenly eaten it. So it wasn't done by somebody else. It would just happen to be around candy time. And so it was thought to be candy. So that is a good PSA.
It is, yeah.
Because
Like,
remember Fun
yeah.
Dip? It was powder.
I love Fun
I
Dip.
freaking love Fun Dip too.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna
What is
tie
it? You're
in.
like licking a stick, putting in the powder, and then
And you
licking
just-
it off
and then you
again.
and then you just suck on that stick
You just
all
keep
day.
doing it over and over. It's
And you-
such a weird
It's so good.
concept.
And
It's
your
so
tongue
good.
is raw after.
It's just like grating it. And there's like 3 pouches,
cat
3
tongue.
different
Yeah, you
flavors.
get cat tongue for 3 days after that, and you're like, I'm wounded, but I want more.
Do you remember how there was like 3 pouches like
Oh, yeah.
connected
Oh,
and
yeah.
with perforations, you could separate them.
Oh.
I kept mine all together. I like to tear all the 3 tops off, then you could switch,
Yeah, you
mix
just
and match. Yeah.
Part of choice.
The camera got wrong. Okay,
It's Obi,
so
Obi, silly cat. That's perfect. Thank you, sir. She's so peaceful.
oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, Obi.
Chaos cat.
It's because he's big. Like how much do you think he weighs? He's
He's
freaking huge.
he is huge. 40 pounds.
He's enormous, and it's like all love. But
we
Belly.
we weigh him in love. So
heavy love can be dangerous, though.
okay, so here's the really kind of messed up part. So the family actually went and so the family knew what happened. They sprinkled the heroin onto the Halloween candy to try to make it look like it wasn't their family members' stuff.
And then hysteria broke out.
Right. Okay. Ronald Clark. Okay. This was Deer Park, Texas, not Deer Park, Washington, just to be clear. He almost ruined Halloween for all American children. On October 31st, 1974, he took their children out trick-or-treating, and Bates's job was to wait on the sidewalk while O'Brien escorted the trick-or-treaters to the front door of neighborhood houses. At one point, O'Brien disappeared briefly. And he all of a sudden came around and he had 5 large pixie sticks. Remember those?
I didn't like those as much.
Which is
I would
just
always get
flavored
choked
sugar.
up on the powder.
Breathe it.
I would breathe it in too much because I would like tip it straight up.
Right.
And I'd be like, ah.
It's like inhaling
break.
sawdust. So he disappeared and he shows up in front with pixie sticks. Well, no one else saw the homeowner, so nobody actually came out to give candy. He just went. So he's taking his kids out trick-or-treating, goes behind the house, comes back, and he has these pixie sticks. Okay. O'Brien claimed that the residents of the house had cracked the door open and given him them to give and distribute to the kids. Later that night, O'Brien dialed 911, stating that his son had apparently eaten poison candy. In spite of the paramedics' best efforts, 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien, his son, died that night. An investigation revealed that the cause of death was cyanide laced in the candy.
So he was using this hysteria to kill his own kid.
It was his own father who decided to sacrifice his son in exchange for a $40,000 life insurance policy. They were having financial troubles, and he traded off his kid's life for it. He also passed the poison pixie sticks to at least 4 other children, including his own 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, in an attempt to make it bigger. The remaining candy was confiscated before the other kids actually ingested it, though. So it was just his son that died.
Well,
Not just his fair, not just his son. Only his son died, all of which is sad.
Well, what happened to that fucker? I hope something bad.
Well, I was going to share a little bit more about. That's actually the one I was going to go into a little bit more detail about, because he is the one is actually dubbed the Candy Man which I think is like a terrifying, scary name that I have not heard on Halloween. Have you? Like as like the
Well,
Candyman?
It's a scary movie.
The movie.
there? Oh,
yeah.
gosh. Oh,
but
well.
it's not about that at all.
Okay, so he's nicknamed the Candyman and the man who killed Halloween. Like that's his.
That Candyman movie scared the shit out of
Really?
me.
You've seen it.
Got the name from.
I mean, I
Probably. 'cause
I
this
would
was
not
in
look in a mirror. I would not.
Youth came out.
Yeah, that movie just
1944.
terrified.
Yeah, I don't think that happened in real life. I'm just guessing though. I didn't see it.
No, it's a scary movie. It was like a
I
90s
believe
movie.
you. Okay, so he was $100,000 in debt. And so that was his motivation. He was actually convicted of capital murder in 1975 and sentenced to death. And he was executed by lethal injection in March 1984. I was going to show you the picture of this guy. The dude.
Dang.
Yeah. Killed his own son for $40,000.
Looks like a doofus.
Awful.
He does look like a doofus. Who does that? Only doofuses.
It's like Marty McFly, or
What if people that killed
Okay.
people like that had to die by the same way they killed the person?
Ooh.
Like
Eat your
true
poison
eye for
candy
an eye.
still. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that idea. Because then,
I'm
like,
my congressperson.
all the great serial killers, like the big ones, they'd have to do whatever horrific thing to that, like they'd get skinned and made into a lamp,
Whatever it is.
whatever it is. They
write that letter.
Right. So he did live with his wife and the son and the daughter, Elizabeth. He worked as an optician. So these are two eye doctors. They were both eye
I
doctors.
thought the other guy was a dentist.
Oh, was it dentist? Oh, I was gonna say that kind of goes like dentists are viewed as scary. So now it's eye doctors and dentists.
Which are
Both.
so scary.
Are they?
Anyway. Well, if you
Oh,
have
they
a
do.
fear of
No,
death,
when they do the poof in your eyes, that's miserable. Or
people poop in your eyes and your mouth.
I did the PRK and they
It's too close to your face.
the PRK burned with the laser layers of my eyeball off, and it smelled like my burnt eyeball, which I now know the smell of in my dad's car for 2 weeks.
That's very disturbing.
It was awful. My dad had to smell that. I got to leave. It is a distinct smell. It's like burnt hair, but with I don't like there's another
An added essence.
like a goo
Flesh.
burn, burny flesh, eyeball, hair burn is what it smelled like. Okay. Right. So he was a deacon at the Second Baptist Church where he sang in the choir and ran a local bus program. Right. Which just is again further insulting. So
This is doofus we're talking about?
this is doofus.
Oh,
Yeah. I
he
mean,
didn't really look like a. I mean, what does the choir singer look like?
I
guess.
have
I'll
no
walk
Well,
idea.
but his cover. It was just a cover.
He just looked
You know,
doofusy, like too doofusy to have talents.
So okay, so the pixie sticks, the parents rushed one of the sons was asleep and he hadn't eaten the candy. They had heard about what was going on. They were unable to like open, like he stapled the top of, because it's like a legit staple on those pixie sticks.
Yeah.
How they close it, they just pull it over and staple it. So that's what he did.
Now they probably like heat seal it or something.
Probably, yeah. So all 5 of the pixie sticks had been opened with the top 2 inches refilled with cyanide powder and resealed with a staple. So the cyanide was right on top. And according to a pathologist who tested the pixie sticks, the candy consumed by Timothy, who passed away, contained enough cyanide to kill 2 adults, while the other 4 candies contained enough to kill 3 to 4 adults each.
How do you even get cyanide?
I mean, back then, I think it was just over the counter. I don't know. I hear about it all the time in the past. Like, so obviously, maybe a garden, like I've heard like to
Oh, you use it
gardening.
to like kill snails or something?
I don't know. I'm guessing, honestly, unless
Unless
they didn't have
Yeah.
Amazon. Ooh, did
You
you?
may have to go to the dark web.
I heard about Amazon getting in trouble recently because they sell some sort of gardening something that's like super highly poisonous, and a young girl bought that and a book about how to kill yourself that gave instructions about
Oh,
buying
I
that
saw
on
a headline
Amazon.
about that.
Right. And there's no reason for that to be sold on Amazon. Like it's so toxic. Like, why would you?
Yeah.
Why? What were you
I feel
looking
like I shouldn't give this information out anyway.
No, just tell us later.
Tell us later.
I don't want to tell the people.
So
Because I've
O'Brien,
always wondered, like, how do you like get it through the mail? Like, how do you get that?
tell us later.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a recipe. Okay.
Don't do this.
Mm-mm.
Warning,
Warning,
label.
yeah.
Wait, this is for entertainment purposes only, and don't do anything we say. And
Why
we're
would you
often
listen
wrong.
to anything we said anyway? I am
Okay.
a head full of snot.
O'Brien initially told police that he could not remember which house he got the pixie stick from. Police became suspicious because O'Brien and his neighbor had only taken their children to homes on 2 streets before it started raining. So it's not like the range was wide. Okay. Their suspicions increased after learning that none of the homes they visited had pixie sticks. After walking the neighborhood with the police 3 times, O'Brien, so the police are like talking to him and he's like walking them around. You can imagine he's sweating a bit. So he walked them to each house, and O'Brien claimed that he went back there before catching up with the group. He said the owner of the home didn't turn the lights on, but did crack the door, right? He claimed to have only seen the man's arm, which he described as hairy. Good detail. Good detail. Really throw him off. He had a
Yeah.
hairy arm.
So it's just his hairy arm reaching out of the door. Here's your
Pixie
pixie sticks.
which, like,
And
as
then
a parent,
withdraws it.
like,
shuts the door.
lights are off, doors are closed. You go, why? You go to like the side, and some man with a hairy arm holds out mysterious.
Why the
5
hell would you
pixie
give that to your
sticks.
kids anyway?
Right. I mean, well, unless it was you. So, okay. So the home was owned by a man named Courtney Melvin. Melvin was an air traffic controller and did not get home until 11 p.m. on Halloween night. So he wasn't there. And over 200 people confirmed that he had been at work. So
Wow.
not him. Wah.
He didn't plan out
He
his-
did. No,
Okay, yeah.
no, he's just
Amateur.
sure.
Stupid criminals get caught.
Right. So back then, $100,000 in debt is about $550,000 in 2021-ish. So he had a history of not being able to hold a job. In the 10 years preceding the crime, he held 21 jobs in 10 years. That's a lot of jobs, especially back then too, because like holding a job meant a lot as far as like pension and all that jazz.
Losing a job is one of the top risk factors for violence towards others.
Mm. At the time of his arrest, he was suspected of theft at the Texas State Optical and was close to being fired. So he was stealing too. His car was about to be repossessed. He had defaulted on several loans, and the family home was being foreclosed on. So you could see he was like everything was closing in on him.
Yeah.
He had taken this life insurance policy out on both of his children just a few months prior. And in January 1974, he'd taken out $10,000 on both of his children 1 month before Timothy died. Why don't you come and be her stud?
Maybe a stand-in.
Yeah.
I'll be the
Okay.
stunt double.
So then right before, just days before Timothy died, he takes out another $20,000 life policy. So it's just like building up life insurance.
Not a
policy.
good look for him.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
So total $60,000. His wife maintained that she had no idea about the insurance policies at all. She didn't have to sign on them. She didn't know. Police also learned that the morning after Timothy died, O'Brien had called his insurance company to inquire about collecting policies that he had taken on his son. So before his son even died, he calls the insurance. Like,
Yeah.
probably not the best idea. After learning that he had visited a chemical supply store in Houston to buy cyanide, there we go. That's how
Oh.
he got it.
There you go.
Shortly before Halloween, he left without purchasing anything after learning the smallest amount available to purchase was 5 pounds.
Oh.
He would have had to buy 5 pounds of cyanide.
Easily
I know.
replaced.
This is Sarah. We're 2 anxious counselors.
I'm taking, you know,
This is like takers, at the Oscars, they have
Oh,
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
come in
To fill the seats.
and fill the seats. Love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I just didn't want to like have a coughing fit or blow my nose really loud on.
Struggle bus. So yes, chemical supply store, actually a chemical supply store, but he went there and he ended up not buying anything because he found he had to buy a 5-pound bag of cyanide. Like that was the smallest amount he could purchase.
It's a lot of
Um,
cyanide.
Right. Police began to suspect that he had laced the candies with poison in an effort to kill, to collect on life insurance. He ended up getting 60,000, by the way. So days before, he just kept adding to life insurance. He called his insurance company
Isn't that a red
before-
flag of some sort?
before the kid died, called them and asked about how to collect on it before the kid died. Right.
Poor kiddo, just used and
So-
tossed away like that.
He was okay to him. He was like, I'm gonna give the other kids it too to try to cover it up and make it like, ooh, these to play on the fear of what parents think. Like there's somebody out there. They don't think it's the parent.
To distract away from him.
Right.
From him.
And that's part of what, like,
Yeah.
when I was looking into this, so many of the cases are families
Yeah.
own drugs that got used and then they cover it up, or it's someone they know in a gag or whatever, or potentially trying to use it as a
It
distraction.
makes me feel safer going out now and not thinking that so many
Like,
people are out to
over it.
get
I
the
mean,
kids as much.
50 or no, what, 80
Kind of.
total
I feel
in
bad for those kids.
Wait till my topic.
since 1950.
Oh.
I'm
What do you think?
Shoot.
okay.
Our topics are totally connected.
So they couldn't figure out where he bought the poison because he obviously got a smaller amount somewhere else. He was arrested though. He was indicted on capital murder, 4 counts of attempted murder. He entered not guilty to all 5. And during the trial, a chemist who is acquainted with O'Brien testified that O'Brien contacted him asking about cyanide and how much it would take to be fatal. Again, not a great idea. A chemical supply salesman also testified that O'Brien asked him how to purchase cyanide. Friends and they didn't have Google back then, I'm guessing. Friends and coworkers also testified that in the months before Timothy's death, O'Brien showed an unusual interest in cyanide. Quote.
Just always bringing it up at the water cooler.
An
Oh, you heard
unusual
about that
interest.
cyanide?
I mean, if somebody just casually brought up cyanide to me, I need an adult. Okay, so his wife rejected that Timothy chose the pixie stick, stating that O'Brien had in fact forced him to choose the stick. So, like, trying to say that like Timothy didn't, like, when he got home, he didn't just eat the pixie stick, that his dad forced him to
Oh.
The
eat.
wife said that.
Yeah. So
She
Like, he's
really
like,
didn't know.
No, I
Yeah.
want to eat this chocolate. You'll eat that pixie stick. I don't like pixie sticks.
so
Eat the pixie stick.
it's candy, it tastes good. I have to tell you though, my dog won't eat pills, and like I have to put them in peanut butter. Now it's cat food because you can taste them in the peanut butter. I would taste cyanide, I think.
Is it tasteless?
Unless I ate those stick things with the sugar and my tongue was raw, and then I might not. It might just burn really bad.
Is it
Right.
odorless and tasteless, or is it
I don't know.
a
these things.
smell? Sarah will look.
Looker upper. Okay, so his main defense drew.
Oh,
Oh,
things
you have
we've
no
looked up,
idea.
Don't worry about it.
They're coming for us first. So if you hear a knock on the door, it's us.
I Googled things like likes to eat poop.
Looked up horrible things. Even just things I didn't mean to look up, but I'm like, oh, what about that? But then you're like, ooh, the way I worded that was not right. And now I have really horrible graphics on my
The
screen.
FBI has never come to our door, so
Right. Yet.
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 It can be a color.
OP.
Mhm.
That's what happens when you have an
It
80
can
pound
be a
ball
color.
of love covered with
Yes.
fur.
Such as hydrogen cyanide or cyanogen.
So it's colorless.
Mhm.
Or crystal forms such as.
Crystal. Because then they make it into a powder of some kind to put in pixie
Sometimes
sticks.
described as having a bitter almond smell, but it does
Oh.
not always give off an odor,
Now, if I'm like bitter almond, bleh.
and not everyone can detect this.
Interesting.
What do you mean not everyone? I want to know what that means. Who are the ones that can't detect bitter almond?
Maybe it's like
Why?
some people
It's
think
fine.
cilantro tastes like
soap.
soap.
Which I do not.
Yeah.
Are
I don't
you?
either.
Are you?
No, I eat cilantro.
I like
I like
cilantro.
cilantro.
Mhm.
I'll just
I
like
like me some tacos.
I like ceviche.
Man, you're making me drool. Okay. So his defense drew upon mainly drew upon the decades-old urban legend at the time concerning a mad poisoner who hands out Halloween candy laced with poisoner needles and candy apples with razor blades. So these stories were circulating way back then too, and he used that as his defense. The case was it actually got a lot of national attention at the time, and the press dubbed O'Brien the Candy Man because of it. On June 3rd, 1975, a jury took 46 minutes to find him guilty of capital murder on 4 counts of attempted murder. The jury took 71 minutes to sentence him to death by electrocution. That's quick. That's quick. Shortly after he was convicted, his wife filed for divorce. And she later remarried her new husband.
I would have divorced him immediately.
She later remarried, and her new husband adopted her daughter Elizabeth.
I hope she gets anything to do with that.
Yeah. So he was sentenced to death. He was shunned and despised by his fellow death row inmates for killing a child and had no connections in the prison. The inmates reportedly petitioned to hold an organized demonstration about his execution date to express their hatred of him. It was such a good. Right. O'Brien's first
prison friends for you.
Oh, you're on death row too? We're not friends just because
he's playing his yard games by himself. Right. No handball tournaments.
No. Are you talking Squid Games? How did you know?
No.
Have you watched Squid Games?
Of course. Oh.
I don't care. They're not going to hear this.
I'm
not listening.
Honest to God, if I don't own the material in this house, it's not going to be on my body. I'm not buying anything. What are you talking about? I'm not buying anything for a costume.
Can we wrap you in toilet paper and I'll bring fake blood? No, it's going to be great. I'm going to bring so much toilet paper.
Perfect.
Okay, let's see. Can we? Oh my gosh. If you want to be a patron, join and you will get to see us live, wrap her like a mummy, and she'll have to be like that for the entire podcast. Done.
My nose is so ready. I should just.
I'm not. You need soft tissues. Your poor nose is gonna be so raw.
I know. It's so.
You're so attractive. So
if I had tampons, I guess.
His attorney. I'm almost done. I promise. His attorney successfully petitioned for a stay of execution. That day was also postponed. So his actual execution was getting pushed out up to 1982, the 8th anniversary of his crime. He offered to personally drive O'Brien to the death chamber. The judge did. It was going to be the first time Texas executed an inmate by lethal injection. The Supreme Court delayed the date again, though, giving him a chance to pursue an appeal and a new trial. So they had a fourth date, 1984. And then on March 28th, the federal judge rejected the request, and shortly after midnight on 1984, March 31st, O'Brien was executed by lethal injection. His last meal consisted of a T-bone steak.
That's all you get.
But this is
eye for an eye.
I don't necessarily agree with this. You get to eat whatever you want before you die. Eat your MFing pixie stick.
Who's paying for that?
Open your mouth.
Are we paying for that? The fancy last meal? Is that tax?
Okay, you want to hear? Okay, I'm not done yet. He had a T-bone steak, medium to well done. Medium rare is better, by the way. Okay, French fries with ketchup, whole corn, sweet peas, lettuce, and tomato salad with egg and French dressing, iced tea with sweetener, saltines, and a Boston cream pie and rolls. F off.
Did his son get to have a fancy last meal before he died? No.
Okay, Boston cream pie of cyanide
shoved down his throat. This guy,
right?
But actually, fuck that part of our prison system.
That does
that's just part of the system.
That's an interesting. Who came up with the idea that you just get to eat last meal? Get what you want.
Somebody should research the history of the last meal. How that tradition came into place.
Future topic. Not now. That could be a whole thing. All right. Okay. So O'Brien's last words. I know, and we don't. I literally was looking at my topic in the car. I asked if she could drive so I could make sure I was okay. Okay.
We had our different approaches.
We do. I told her I wasn't going to tell you, but I can't hold anything back.
I know.
O'Brien's last words.
No, that's what you do.
That's true.
You've done it for 3 years. Why stop now?
I'm so impressed right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right, tell me more.
I can't believe like all of this great information came
Are
out.
we letting Sarah see behind the curtain?
That's what she said in the car. She exactly that. She said that. She's like, I feel like I'm seeing, because I'm like, and she hears me.
You're ruining the magic.
There was a moment in the car where I'm like, oh, and she's like, oh, did you find something? I'm like, I found where I'm gonna take it. And I
wanted to peek, but I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it in this.
I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her.
That's
No.
good because
Okay.
or else you won't have honest reactions.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear what his last words were?
Fine.
Okay.
Was he
Not really, but
remorseful
yeah,
at
right.
all?
He said, what is about to transpire in a few moments is wrong. However, we as human beings do make mistakes and errors. This execution, look, this is long-winded.
mistake,
This
sir.
is long-winded. This execution is one of the wrongs, yet, wait, that was my wine. This execution is one of those wrongs. It doesn't mean our whole system of justice is wrong. Okay. Therefore, I would forgive all who have taken part in any way of my death. Also, to anyone I have offended in any way during my 39 years, I pray and ask for your forgiveness, just as I forgive anyone who offended me in any way. And I pray and ask God's forgiveness for all of us, respectively, as human beings. To my loved ones, I extend my undying love. To those close to me, know in your hearts, I love you, one and all. God bless you all, and may God's blessings be always yours. Ronald C. O'Brien's P.S. During my time here, I have been treated well by all TDC personnel. During the execution, there was a crowd.
Filling out a comment card? I mean, what was that?
There was a crowd of 300 demonstrators outside the
I
prison
didn't hear any
cheering.
remorse. I didn't
Okay,
hear
get this.
any.
Get this,
at
way
all.
back,
Yeah.
cheering, 300 people outside cheering trick or treat. Like, hurrah, he died, trick or treat. Others anti-death penalty
So is that
demonstrators
their treat?
threw candy. Right. So interesting. As the anti-execution people threw candy, the ones who were happy about it yelled trick or treat. And that is a little cautionary tale and a little modern, watering down a bit of worry.
Well, get ready to get worried again.
Great. That's what I'm here for, really. Worry me.
Because this is something that has honestly been freaking me out. It's been freaking me the fuck out. And it has led to many
We're here to traumatize
talks
you.
with my children, cautioning them,
Trick or treating.
or let them out of the house is really what you're gonna think after this.
Right.
Are you gonna turn me into agoraphobic?
I mean, I started to go to the store tonight and I turned around and went, oh, I'm like, fuck that shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, also I was gonna go. Do you ever shop at that Fred Meyer that's on by Altamont over there?
Yeah, I've been there.
That Fred Meyer is so annoying. The parking lot is awful.
Crowded.
The staff are just like unhappy. It's all self-checkout, which annoys the shit out of me when you have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a bad deal. So I mean, that was part of my decision. I'm like, I'm already irritated. Am I feeling resilient enough in my weakened state to deal with Fred Meyer?
I'm scared of
No.
you, even in a weekend state. You're like an animal trapped in the corner.
What does that mean?
I know. We walked up and she's never at the door normally. I have to go ring the bell and I wait like a solid 30 seconds. She's like, and then she sees us walking up and she slowly opens the door and like,
I thought a bucket of water.
Or blood.
something bad was going to happen. But then I realized she knows I don't like it when she's sick because I have to sit next to her and she breathes on me. That's why she's coughing towards you, Sarah. She's being quite respectful to me, but not towards you. She knows.
I really didn't want to cancel podcast night because
I
I
know.
love it so much.
That's what this is. That whole thing was guilty feelings.
We knew something was up.
She's like, I'm not going to make them wait 30 seconds. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there at the door.
No, and did you see I was hiding my Kleenex behind my back?
You're like, she's going to kill us. Today's the
So you
day.
both stopped at the end. You're like, what's going on? I'm like, nothing.
I was like, Sarah, get back in the car.
And also, my street is the darkest fucking street in the city.
It's scary
There
already.
are no lights.
The
Yeah,
last
it's so
thing-
dark.
okay, the last thing I need is for you to be my wild card. Like, I didn't see it coming, guys. I had no idea. I thought she just liked to look up weird shit. But she really
I
likes.
am the weird shit. You're just figuring that out?
I mean, no. There.
Oh, my stomach hurts.
I can't.
Okay.
Making me
Okay. Welcome, new listeners to our podcast. We appreciate you.
Welcome. I hope you found candy informational. Don't eat science.
Don't look.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, now stop and smile.
I'll fight you.
Fucking cut for the set part too.
All right.
Wait, one more. Great.
I'm going to talk tonight about fentanyl because
Ooh.
fentanyl
How do you get
is
it?
freaking me the fuck out.
I know a lot about
Now, Asher's in his room right now. He has his door closed.
Should
I'm
you
sure he
not
has
yell?
headphones on. No, because we've had the fentanyl talk.
Oh, it's like sex, fentanyl.
No, I didn't need to have the sex talk with him. He learned from his older brother.
He learned from high school.
He learned sex leads to children pretty early on, so
Oh,
he understands.
that's fair.
So I did drugs in high school
Oh yeah,
and middle school and a little elementary school
I was a good child now.
and a little college, TBH. The drug landscape has changed though, and it's totally terrifying. It is not a fun carnival anymore. The days when
Carnival.
you could just go to a party and just take whatever was
Wait,
going around.
Hold on, let me
like,
adjust this so the hand
that
motions
has
get in there.
changed.
Great.
That has changed.
It's changed.
Those days are gone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. We need to start sign language practice again.
We do.
WTF. I
50
need one of
pounds.
those like wall screens between us.
I have liquid coming out my eyes and my nose, which
And
is
what-
annoying.
What kind of liquid is that? Are there any butterflies we need to be worried about? Drinking your eye tears? Spiders?
50
perhaps?
pounds of fentanyl was just seized in Florida a couple days ago. That's enough fentanyl to kill half the state of Florida.
In candy.
This was orchestrated. These drugs being pushed out there was orchestrated from inside a Florida prison by a convicted murderer.
Mm.
His people were on the outside and they were instructed to distribute these drugs throughout Florida.
Look at how great your hair looks.
No, I look just great. Anyways, that's why I'm always distracted. Like, oh, hi. Oh, hey over there. Oh, hi, you.
I know. One of a kind over here. Look at this. Keep talking about fentanyl.
Don't hate me
murderers.
because I can pull off a Rudolph nose. There's lots of terrifying things about fentanyl, but one of the terrifying things is that just a teeny tiny amount, 2 milligrams, can kill an adult. This is 3 grains of salt. It's freaking tiny.
I love salt. Copious amounts.
But imagine how small that is. That's all the fentanyl that's needed to kill any of us.
If somebody, that's all they'd have to do is go into every home and put it in the salt shaker. People would,
Yeah. Done.
Let's not give people ideas. I mean, after I did this, I
I'm
was
a
thinking of all
great
kinds of
idea person.
ideas. And I'm like, I don't think I can share this on the podcast because
Oh,
they're
that's
too
my job.
easy and they would work really well. And
I
I don't
mean,
want to be responsible for
We're not responsible for a murder.
Well,
Disclaimer.
I won't get into it, but
Yeah.
people have
Don't
been blamed for things.
do things.
However, brightly colored fentanyl called
That's it.
So there's rainbow fentanyl.
Oh, I saw a thing about this. Yes.
This is what it's been called by the media
Right.
anyway. It's brightly colored
Right.
fentanyl and it's used to target young people
Yeah,
because it looks like candy. This is what it looks like.
but most
Oh, wow.
people,
Doesn't it look like candy?
yeah,
Like sweet tarts.
but most
Yeah,
people don't give
that's
away
me,
their
it's sweetheart.
highly expensive fentanyl drugs to children, but they may sell it to teens to get them hooked.
I said
Yes.
young people.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
she knows. She knows what I'm saying.
This
It's
trend
not ending up in the Halloween candy.
this trend appears to be a new method that the drug cartels are using to get people addicted because it looks fun. Like if you're at a party, like a college party, you see those on the table. Yeah, that's fun.
I was never invited to a college party.
Well, I mean,
What's that like?
I didn't go to college parties
Was
either.
it fun?
But I grew up.
Sarah
going
has.
to-
Look at her over there. She's like,
I
aw.
grew up going
She awed
to
me.
house parties.
My next party. I don't throw parties though.
We throw parties, but it's a different level. There's no drugs involved.
Oh, what happens at these parties?
Upside down twerking.
If my kitchen remodel ever gets done, then I'm gonna have a celebratory party.
We need a tourist party. We didn't do it this year because of COVID.
Well, I'm gonna have an all-purpose party when
Well,
my
that's-
kitchen's done.
Fine. Can we also have a tourist party?
You host one, bitch. Why is it always me?
It's not always you haven't hosted.
You've
because
never
Derby-
hosted a party.
I never hosted my new home party, whatever that is.
Housewarming.
6 years ago.
I always host parties. I love hosting parties.
I hate hosting parties. That's why I had one
Oh, I
time.
love it.
One time I had the Derby girls over to watch the Wooftada championships at 10 o'clock. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. You guys can stay if you want. And of course people leave because that's weird. That's weird.
That is weird.
I'm not a good host. And guess what? They left.
If you're tired,
And I went to bed.
Yeah, you just tell them to get the fuck out.
I did. I
I've done that
genuinely
before.
want them to enjoy themselves, but I was done.
I'm an excellent host.
See?
And this house is
I can-
designed for parties. That's why I have no rugs.
Exactly. I can
Let's
only
do it.
have fun in your house.
Macie, you do have wall-to-wall carpeting.
I know.
Not party friendly.
No,
Okay, can I get back to my topic?
I
please?
guess.
Thank you.
Okay. It's a great topic so far. I'm
Well,
enjoying it.
I'm like this far into
I
it.
really
so-
enjoy this top you're wearing. This
Um,
sounds nice.
That's pretty.
It's a tunic, actually. So
What is a tunic?
can we
mean?
call it what it is?
Kind of
please?
covers your mid butt.
My mid? What's
I
a
mean,
mid butt?
it only goes down the mid butt.
What if I stand up?
What is a tunic?
It covers my whole butt if I stand up.
Oh, it's a whole butt.
A mid butt.
I don't. I've
Half ass.
I mean, I'm like, if I turn sideways, I have a
Number
mid
one.
butt, but standing upright, I do not have.
I
a
mean, I
mid
kind of
butt.
have a decent badonkadonk. It might be a mid butt on me. Maybe it's, but
So these look fun. These pills,
right.
They look like candy. They look like sweet.
I'd
tarts.
eat them. You're sweet tart.
I know. So this is the DEA says these rainbow pills, these brightly colored pills that come in actually all shapes and sizes. That's just one example. Is a deliberate effort by drug traffickers to drive addiction among young people.
You know what they should do if they made them in little rainbows? I'd probably eat that.
See? Brightly colored fentanyl is being seized in multiple forms. So pills, powder, and then they make these big bricks, which are actually kind of impressive looking. And they're imprinted
I know.
like a
Mm.
brand name. Like they're imprinted so they can tell like where they came from.
Mm.
Despite claims that certain colors may be more potent than others, there's no indication through the DEA's lab that this is the case.
Okay. So it's not like, oh, watermelon not Starburst. Jolly Ranchers are better than all
Well,
the others.
there's some word on the street that is false that like, oh, avoid blue or avoid green or avoid.
Oh,
pink or
but that's
whatever.
kind of just to get people to like still buy it, but like, don't worry, you won't die if you don't to overtake the blues.
But I can see, I mean, I grew up with drug culture and street culture, and I can see where you'd find comfort in those things. Like people have had experiences like I've never had a bad deal with blue.
Yeah.
Nobody I know has like blue is safe or whatever. I'm just making up that color.
Right.
But every color, shape, and size of fentanyl should be considered extremely dangerous.
It's just the color. The color has nothing to do with the drug.
But people try to, find comfort and safety where they can. God, I'm gonna have another coughing fit.
Fruit Loops. I've heard Fruit Loops, each color actually tastes the same.
No, it does. It does. No, I mean, no, I've heard that too, that
Yeah.
it's the same flavor,
Yeah.
but your mind plays tricks
Makes
on
me
you.
carrier, like,
Well, there was
Yeah.
that whole thing back in the day where they had to stop doing, was it red
Red-
M&Ms?
Red
Because they were,
dye,
like,
whatever.
poisoning people. Drug traffickers often mix fentanyl into other drugs because it's super cheap to manufacture and a small amount, as I said, only 2 mgs goes a long way. Fentanyl is often mixed
Works.
into other substances
It's just sharp.
or marketed as substances other than fentanyl, including prescription meds. Why am I not wearing my glasses? Part of the
Whenever,
problem.
this is something you need to help her with too.
yeah.
I try to watch for if you see her squinting really close to her laptop. No, you just say rudely, "Why aren't you wearing your glasses?" And then she finds.
Well, Sarah
don't-
doesn't have to
you
be
have to be
rude.
nice.
It's not her nature.
Is
Sarah's
it
a
my?
very
It's
nice
my.
person?
I just get nicely handed.
It's my
Yeah.
nature.
We don't want to turn Sarah to the dark side.
I am riding with Sarah. I will turn her.
No.
So this is really dangerous because
Look how much we like each other. It's from our car rides.
It's fabulous. Individuals often don't intentionally take fentanyl because it's mixed into drugs that they mistake for other drugs.
Right.
So it's being, it looks like
Ecstasy or
cocaine.
Cocaine.
It looks like you can't tell the difference visually. It can be put in capsules, and it's being pressed into pills made to look like prescription meds that are popular to buy in the street, like Oxy, Xanax, Adderall, and
Codone.
they're making it look exactly like them. So I looked at a lot of stories on the news about with like college kids that thought they were just buying something that they take anyway or that they need, to help with anxiety or to help with focus at college. Because, Xanax,
Right.
Adderall, those have been popular things to, buy non-prescription.
I watched a Vice show that talked a bit about this, and one of the people shared that like, oh no, I wouldn't like the people making it. Oh no, I wouldn't take this. It's too dangerous. Or there's obviously people who do take it, but like they are very aware of how, because some of them like mix drugs within it, and so there's no way of knowing like actual potency or like levels of anything. It's just like,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's street drugs.
that's street drugs.
So what people need to know now, because the landscape has changed, any pill or drug that's sold on the internet or on the streets or by a person you even know could contain a lethal dose of fentanyl.
Lethal.
And they're good. Look,
That means
real
dead.
Xanax,
I told
fake
Max
Xanax.
this.
You can't tell the difference.
I don't know. Like, don't ever take.
Yeah, look,
anything.
they look exactly the same. They're pressing them so they look exactly the same. Yeah, that's why I had talks with my kids. I'm like, don't take a fucking Tylenol. Nothing.
Nothing from someone
Nothing.
that was not prescribed to you.
Yep.
If mommy
Just
don't put it in
know.
your hand, you put it down in the
Like
garbage.
that. Can I put that as our title?
If mommy don't put it in your hand,
Put it down.
put it down. Is that dirty too? I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I've
yeah.
said like 4 things now.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
here's a couple things you said.
What?
Um,
No.
You said taint
When?
early
What?
on.
I
Early
did
on, you
not
said it. You did.
I did not. Sarah says no. Look at our auditor.
She said it early on because it registered with me. I was like, I don't like that word.
Okay, but I mean, like, what did I say? Tainted?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was
Taint, ED.
Tainted. Like,
Taint.
tainted has been tainted. I'm not saying
Ed.
taint.
I heard taint is part of tainted, and that was what registered with me.
I did not say taint on the air. You did. And now I did more.
For several seconds after you said that, all I was thinking about was how much I don't love that word.
I can't believe that you come at me with taint. I said
There's
tainted.
another word you said after that
Taint.
too that I can't remember.
Say it.
I don't recall.
Needle in my mouth.
No, it was
Prick in
before.
my-
It was in between Tate and before.
Sorry, Dad. I did not mean any of
Prick.
this. She is
It was
I was
something
just-
else you said. I'm like,
it's all highly out of context. I'm appropriate.
oh, are we blaming it on the edit now? Is that what
I-
you're doing, Macie?
I never went to a college party. This is naivety filtered by San Francisco.
I never went to a college
I
party
don't
either.
know, Sarah.
By the time I started
Do
college,
you think
I was
Sarah
done.
would have been that person? I didn't, but now I do. Now I get it.
Been to college parties, but I didn't like
What's wrong
parties.
with college parties?
You never
I
went. What do you know?
Inherently wrong with the college party.
Everything's wrong with
I just wasn't. I mean, by the time I started doing drugs when I was little kid, so by the time I was in my 20s, I was like, over it.
Okay, so la-di-da, Macie in her 30s says tainted on air.
Maybe it's time for you to break bad.
What?
Breaking Bad.
Are you
Maybe
gonna
it's
drug
time.
me?
No, but I mean, like, maybe you need to like cut loose, boot loose.
My dad listens to
Kick
this
off your
podcast.
Sunday shoes.
Daddy, dearest, I will not.
Okay,
I'm
listen
a
to
good
this.
child.
Back to
Back to the
fentanyl.
topic.
Right.
Back to fentanyl. Focus.
Fentanyl, the deadly drug.
Don't make me go out and buy
You just
some
told me to-
street Adderall that contains fentanyl, so we
Are you
can
gonna
focus.
drug me one day
and we'll
and
all
you're
die.
like cut loose? Let me talk about fentanyl. That's your transition.
No, that would be your own choice. That's the whole thing.
No,
I'm-
my choice is not because I haven't.
I know, but maybe one day. Sometimes people that never went through a bad phase feel like they're missing out at some point, and then they want to like.
I don't
explore
I
that.
don't feel that at all.
No, you don't now.
I'm gonna
Fentanyl.
be 70 years old being like, she's right.
I know. You'd be like, what do I fucking care anymore? Who do I have to answer to? I don't care what people think of me.
Give me my pixie stick.
Partay.
It was cyanide, right?
Give me some Molly. Point me in the direction of the rave.
I don't know, like some sort of bass music. I thought I've never been to a club. I can't.
You don't get into a club either.
No, I'm
Crazy.
Don't judge me.
Oh my god. See, this is why
Let's go. I
I
would.
don't understand.
Can we three weirdos go to a club one day? I would love to see that.
There's no
happen.
clubs in Spokane.
I don't know what is club.
Club is not here.
They don't.
They don't have clubs here.
We don't want to go to.
I used to go to the club though.
Wow.
When I was a teenager,
Is this it?
80s club. 80s club was hopping.
80s don't exist anymore.
I know the club scene was great. All right, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. So in case you're wondering, what is fentanyl?
A synthetic
What
opioid.
even is it? It's 50 times more potent than heroin. 50 times.
Heroin's pretty potent.
And 100 times more potent than morphine, which I have an allergy to. So do not give it to me because I'll die.
I'll be like, don't do it if she's unconscious on the floor. Don't give her morphine, and she bleeds a lot, so don't cut her.
I'm a bleeder too.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, just a few grains of table salt worth of fentanyl is a lethal dose. And without laboratory testing, there's no way to know how much fentanyl is concentrated
Right.
in a pill or powder. Even pills from the same batch, when they look at it at the lab, show extreme variation in concentration. So, and we could get some from the same batch, same little baggie. You could take one, be fine. I could take one, be fine. Macie drops dead.
What the? Why is
Why are
it
you so
me?
amazing?
I mean, I was just going around the room.
I feel like that's purposeful.
You could take one and be fine. Sarah could take it and be fine. I could drop dead. Does that make you feel better?
No, because it was
I'm
said
willing
later
to drop dead.
after I took issue.
And then
After I
so
was just looking, I'm like, she's such a pretty human, and then you're like, Macie dies. Great.
it's just hypothetical. So
I hypothetically
here's some
died.
of the street names for illegally manufactured fentanyl.
These are gonna be fun.
Apache,
Mm.
Dance Fever, Friends,
Titles. These are titles.
Goodfellas,
Good fellas.
Murder 8,
Ooh.
Tango and Cash.
Mm. Any Candymans?
No, illegally manufactured fentanyl in its liquid form can be found in nasal sprays, eye drops, and dropped onto paper or small candies. So really, It can be anywhere,
If you're
and it can
willing-
be anything.
If you're willing to eat paper, you might get.
Here's what a
fucked.
lethal dose looks like. Look how small.
Ooh, yeah, that could be like I'm dusting one day and I
Can
huff
it
it.
be dropped into marijuana, into cannabis?
It could
Oh,
be
for
into
sure.
anything.
For sure.
Like it's, yeah.
It can be anywhere and
Like-
anything, all the time.
So late,
That's why it's so terrifying.
you could. It's
No.
well, you would lace the marijuana with that, but you'd probably get more money purchasing that than you would marijuana. So you'd probably have like if you're making money, if this is a money thing,
Right,
which
it is.
But if it's a murder thing,
Oh,
murder.
fentanyl remains the deadliest drug threat facing this country
What's the goal
at this
here?
time. According to the CDC, 107,622 Americans died of drug
Can
overdoses.
you say that number one more time slowly?
107,622
Thank you. Got it. Okay.
died
This is
of
a
drug
lot.
overdoses in 2021. So that's last year.
Wow.
And 66% of those deaths were related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl.
Okay. So stop worrying about, I mean, maybe not fully stop, but don't be so effing paranoid about razor blades in your kids' candy. Be more worried about the real legit fentanyl trying to be sold to them.
absolutely.
Like it's not happening on they're
It's
not
okay
giving
if I just worry about everything.
they're not giving it away for free. Like these people are about money, like period. They're not
The
giving it
candy
away for free.
situation, honestly.
So
Not scary.
fentanyl poisonings right
This is
now,
bad
listen to
choices.
this stat.
I am.
Fentanyl poisonings are now the leading killer in the US of those ages 18 to 45. The leading killer.
Even younger even, like the teen population.
No,
Right.
because I think it's just showing up more for young adults.
For grabbing meds off the street,
No, 18 and 45.
18 to.
What do you mean?
245.
Okay, wait. What do you mean? What 45-year-old? Almost every drug user I know is somewhere between 30 and 45.
Okay.
These are like habitual substance users that have leveled up over time. Even
And some of the young
Or new people
people
getting
could be college kids, like I
Right.
said, they think
Trying
they're buying an
something new.
Adderall
Off the
and it's
street.
not a
right.
Adderall, or not off the streets necessarily.
It could be from their
Buying
friends.
it from a
Or
friend,
parties.
or it's at a party and there's just like pills,
I went
or like it's the trusted hookup,
Right.
you know.
I went to one party once and I walked in his Halloween party. Dad would be proud of me. I went in and there was a lot of making out among lots of people and they offered me ecstasy and I left and I went home.
Well, the problem is you got there too late. You got to get in.
No, they
on
were
the floor.
no, and that was like I was very sober walking into
Yeah,
a-
that's where you went wrong.
oh no thanks.
You don't come late to a cuddle party.
Is that what you got? Cuddle party? Cuddle
I'm tying it into our last
cuddle
episode.
puddle. Cuddle
Yeah.
puddle is
Yeah.
what we call derby like pile-ups. Cuddle puddles. Oh,
I didn't call them.
I call them cuddle puddles. That could be a topic name as well.
Fentanyl available in the US is primarily supplied by two criminal drug networks, the Sinaloa cartel. So that's where stuff in our area is coming from.
Hmm.
And the network makes its way up from Mexico, and there's a big hub in Yakima.
Interesting.
And then it makes
Okay.
its way up to
Okay.
our area.
Yeah, I
and
think
the
the one
other-
I watched was out of California for the show that I had seen. So I haven't seen anything for Washington.
And then, well, these are the two in the whole US, the two
Oh,
major
babies.
criminal drug networks. So it's the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel.
That's scary. That's out of our home state. That's not great. Not great
Well,
at
no,
all.
I mean, that's just the path to come up here. There's paths that go all around the country.
They spread those drugs.
In another recent raid, this one in LA, and this is just recently too, in the last week, 258,000 pills were found. And each of the pills contained enough fentanyl to kill a person.
Hmm.
And this is just like one drop in the bucket of what's out there.
Right.
8,500 pounds of fentanyl were seized in border crossings during the first 9 months of this year, 2022. So remember that little bit that it takes to kill 8,500 pounds. That was just these, while they're checking cars crossing the border, and just through September. The DA sees 10 million fentanyl pills between May and September across the country. So I thought I'd throw in just a little snippet of
Your viewing
why
pleasure.
this becomes so addictive. Our body naturally makes opioids,
Yes.
and
Pain.
endorphins is one example of a naturally made opioid. So this is why we have opioid receptors in our brain, because our body naturally makes it. And opioids change our perception of pain, because pain is an illusion, actually.
It
Future
is.
topic.
Remember the hands experiment we did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you watch it? Phantom Limb? Did you watch the video? That was fun. I almost bought a fake hand off Amazon because of that, and I want to use it.
I don't know. I used to have one. I don't know what happened.
No, it wasn't little tiny hand. It was a real hand. It was a real hand. Why'd you do that on your face? Why would you touch it on your face?
Is this makeup tutorial or this group?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Really funny.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
Facebook.
So these opioid receptors we have in our brain cause dopamine to flood our system to help us. It doesn't help us stop feeling pain because we don't really feel it, but it helps us change that perception. And it feels fucking fantastic, and eventually becomes a need. So at first it's a want, and then it's a need, and that's the basis for the addiction forming. So fentanyl was made as a legitimate pain medication in the medical field in the 60s, and it had real uses. One of them was for cancer pain that was resistant to the typical pain meds that they would prescribe. But by the early 2000s, misuse was already occurring. And at that time, 80% of those prescribed the fentanyl lollipop that was created for cancer patients did not actually have cancer.
I
don't
love
know why we're making it a lollipop farm. Why are we trying to make it fun?
Did it have bubble gum in the middle though?
No.
That's your whole.
How many licks?
Do you remember the rappers on those? I think they got in trouble for having the Native American, like with the bow and arrow and the little star on it. And if you turn that in, you get a free lollipop. That never worked. They always said like doesn't exist, but it was supposedly.
I collected Campbell soup labels and sent it in, and I got my free Campbell soup mug, and I still have it in my kitchen.
Like, where did I hear? Have you heard that? Like the lollipops with the where the one with the
Yeah, I heard about it. I never tried that one.
If it had the full piece with the star, you could get a free one. But that never. I took it in, and they'd say, "No, we don't."
Well, I'm sure they had to remove that because, well, also it's like
it still exists. They're still on them. I've seen them.
I'm gonna look. Well,
on a lollipop.
Well, maybe they consulted with
I mean, actually, okay,
tribes, and maybe the tribes are cool with it, or maybe they're like.
To be fair, I have not seen it in the last 10 years.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, we need to look into it and see.
Right.
I will buy a
offensive candies from like the smoking cigarettes, the
oh
candy
my God,
cigarettes.
I fucking love them. You can still buy those at least.
I know. Well, but that's what I'm saying is like
that's fun candy.
I love pretend.
Could you imagine them like they could put fentanyl on that and just done?
Wow.
I love those, and the more high end ones had like the glowy end where it was like
I don't
really,
even know that.
Inhaling.
I never had a high end one. Actually, I was very. That would be like if you got in a Halloween bag, you'd hide that you've had those from your parents.
Oh, I never got those in a Halloween bag.
I never got them in real life.
I got them from the ice cream truck.
My dad would never let them.
They would sell them in our ice cream truck. That was in my hood.
I just had like the SpongeBob ones that had a gumball in
maybe
it.
there's a difference between California.
Maybe this is
one of many.
I wasn't here then.
In California,
I was in Snohomish. I was in West Side Washington. Give me at least a little credit. Thank you.
Washington.
There's a difference between West and East Coast.
It's a big difference.
It is.
It's like 300 miles or something.
I'm gonna fight you.
In 2016, the fentanyl crisis claimed its first high-profile victim, one of my favorite artists of all time, Prince.
Oh, what? Cream?
Prince.
I-
Cream, sugar on top.
Yeah, I remember my dad playing that song. He had a
I love
cassette.
Prince. I've always loved
Cream.
Prince.
I didn't
Still love
know
Prince.
that's how he went. That's so sad. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And this
Hmm.
really brought the fentanyl crisis into the mainstream awareness.
Mhm.
And it's reported that he didn't take the drug directly, but it was found in counterfeit pain medication that he was taking.
So he may not have even known, or he
No.
did know. Maybe.
No, he didn't know.
Did he? Do we know that? he didn't know?
No, but that's my personal
That's fine. He
fan
seems.
loyal
He
opinion.
seems like a good dude.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a Prince fan. I love Prince.
I only know the Cream song, but I liked it.
What? I will die for you.
My parents went to a Prince concert when my mom was pregnant with me. So I think I have like this love for Prince.
Love Prince.
Yeah.
Fucking love Prince.
You have to talk louder because you're not in front of the mic. Just FYI.
Okay.
Fentanyl has now overtaken oxy and heroin in the opioid epidemic. So we heard a lot about oxy, we heard a lot about heroin. Now it's fentanyl. And fentanyl kills people because it shuts down your ability to breathe.
Not good. It's that moment that you're like, I forget how to breathe, and then it's over that fast.
Yeah, I mean, I was given morphine when I broke my arm. See, my arm is deformed. Well, not deformed, differently formed. And I even put in my chart that I'm allergic to morphine, but when they changed shifts, they didn't communicate that, and so they gave it to me, and I almost freaking died from a broken arm.
I'm so upset by it. Yeah, no,
I was so upset.
shift change do not excuse, and that's come up like fairly recently too with some.
I was
with
like,
deaths.
I had all the stickers all over me. You know,
I'm just gonna write. I'm gonna take a marker out of my pocket. Don't
It's
do
so
it.
so bad.
Stop it.
Just
Just stop.
No, I was like fading. It was
Morphine.
it
No,
was
no.
scary. Many overdose deaths are due to fentanyl mixed with cocaine or fentanyl mistaken for cocaine because, unlike cyanide, you can't see or smell or taste it. There are
Oh, I see
test
what you're
strips
saying.
that you
Unless
can
you
get.
taste an almond.
Yeah.
What was it? Almond.
yeah.
Almond.
You said like it was like specific, like burnt almond. No, it wasn't burnt. That's burnt hair.
Almond.
That's burnt hair. That's a different thing.
That was your burnt eyeball.
Yeah.
That was
Oh, my
way back
eyeball burned.
in the first half. There are test strips that you can get that are pretty inexpensive that can tell you if your drugs are laced for fentanyl, but it
Fair.
can't tell you everything that's in it.
Yeah.
So here's a sad story because I want to bring a
That's what I did too. I brought a
Human-
sad story into it.
human aspect because you might
Right.
think, oh, what does this matter? Why should I care? This is
care.
why you should care
Care.
because babies are dying.
No.
So in Spokane,
Not
our
the-
city where
not
we
the
live,
babies.
this is our city. You may have saw this in the news. So just last December, 17-month-old baby Serenity died of a fentanyl overdose after coming into contact with fentanyl that her father was dealing. So he was selling what's called blue Mexi pills, which are counterfeit oxycodone. And police interviewed a witness at the home who said the parents, quote, like to dabble in Mexis, unquote, and said they weren't sure if the child had, quote, gotten a hold of something, unquote. So the witness said,
Babies don't get a hold of something.
well, if people have it laid all out on the coffee table.
Don't do that.
The witness said she had also gotten Mexis from the drugs that were kept in a candy container. So this is where
Mhm.
having things look like candy can affect young kids because if you have it in the home, it looks
Mhm.
like candy. You can't rely on
Right.
kids to listen to you when you say don't get into that.
And that was big in the marijuana becoming legalized. Don't make it gummies with cartoon characters because a kid that might see that laying around might eat
Yeah.
it like gummy bears.
Or a Tide Pod.
Well, yes. I feel like a Tide Pod is a good, just don't. I don't know. It doesn't
Well,
look
they're
like candy.
colorful.
I don't
For
see
little
that.
kids.
But
For little kids. They're drawn to that shit. And it looks fun. And I'm like, what is that? Like Stella just yesterday wanted to put
Everything
the
around.
little dishwasher thing in for me. And I'm like, no, don't you ever touch that.
Yeah.
I
Patrol.
only Nana puts in the dishwasher pod.
The death patrol stage.
Exactly.
That's
Everything around.
terrifying.
Because you think, especially like where she's at 3, you don't watch every second anymore. Like,
Because they start to get independent.
yeah, like you can, but they're still not making the best decisions.
So,
I mean, we just had a whole thing where she shoved a freaking rock up her nose. I'm like, what? Why? Why
Mark
did you
put a
shove it?
Lego guy's head up his nose, and then like Nick had to get it out, and he was an angry Lego, and so he got no, don't do that.
Yeah, so you can't trust.
Don't
I mean,
stick
still,
things up holes.
even if you think
yeah,
that
I had that
they're
thought.
listening to you, like everything still needs to be locked
Holes are
up.
not for inserting.
Well,
No.
time and place,
Age.
age and place. So this father has been charged with homicide, rightly so. So poor little Serenity. I mean, that just sucks that her life was cut short by having shitty parents. That
Don't be a
didn't deserve her.
Be a shitty parent.
Well,
Basics.
It doesn't shut. Stop it. It doesn't shut. It's broken.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
just needs
is.
more
No,
love.
it's broken.
Like,
Trust me, it's broken.
This is the center. You got so angry about the child being not well taken care of. I saw the table. Look at it.
No, it's broken. It won't shut on the side.
It
so
just
don't
doesn't.
worry
It
about it.
doesn't clamp.
No, it doesn't close.
We won't force
This
it.
is a really antique
Force
table
the-
and it's
force the-
broken. Like this is from the 1800s,
That's character.
but it doesn't shut. So just don't
It's okay.
try to make it because
Don't
it's
do that.
happy having
Character
a part of
flaws.
it ajar. It's not a flaw. It's just unique.
It's a jar.
There were 120 deaths related to fentanyl in Spokane County last year. That's our county. That's 120. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's up from 28 in the year
2020.
before and 10
Wow.
in 2019.
Obviously
So
getting way
we're
worse.
seeing, but
Yeah.
it's like it's an exponential rise. And this trend is being seen all over the country, not just here.
Oh my gosh, I just realized that was
Lusa and baby
Lusa.
Stella. I know. We'll show you patrons what we're talking about. No, our patrons. You want to see it? You'll pay $1.
Lusa, though, used to join us on our
Angry.
podcast and is a sweet soul. That what a cute! I didn't never knew that.
Brings me to tears.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know it's the baby second, but it's fair. I'm more emotionally connected with
We'll
Stella.
talk about it after. This will
Remember
be our
when
post
I still have the video of when Stella farted throughout the whole podcast.
You mean Lusa?
Sorry. Go on.
I'll try. Let's not mix up my dog and my granddaughter. Okay, so federal drug enforcement officials have really stepped up these efforts. 15,000 pounds of pure fentanyl were seized in 2021. That's enough to kill every single person in America.
Except for those of us that don't go to clubs.
It doesn't
Party.
have to be clubs. That's what I'm saying.
Parties or friends. If you don't have friends.
No. I mean, it could be just somebody being like, I'm anxious. I have an interview tomorrow. Oh, I have a Xanax. Here you go. Like,
Don't
do
do that.
It could be anybody,
I don't take drugs from anybody. Trust
Don't
nobody.
but not everybody does because some people don't have the money. Might
Right.
need the hookup.
It sucks.
Not everybody has health insurance. So
Right.
that's why this is freaking me out because it can come from people you trust. It can not be expected. Like you don't expect it to come in the form it's coming.
Mhm.
Like it may seem innocent like a pixie stick, but it's not candy.
It's
Like how I
not
tied everything together.
candy.
Like that.
So this is some good news. Fewer US teens are doing drugs.
Oh, great. But
Here's the
more-
bad news.
More are dying.
More are dying. If you encounter fentanyl in any form, do not touch it. Call 911 immediately because it is so freaking toxic.
How do you know?
You will
you're
die.
offering it until after the
But
fact?
if you suspect, just call 911.
So like
Don't
you got
touch it. Back
something
away.
suspiciously. So I met someone who went to the bar just socially with friends, and her friends left. And then so this is more about date rape drug, but she was sitting there drinking, like her friends were gone, and somebody offered her a drink.
Mm-mm.
And she drank it because she's like, oh, I'm just gonna have one and leave. And so she was driving one of those scooter things downtown Spokane, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Death traps.
Death traps. So she was driving that out, and all of a sudden she lost consciousness. And I saw her, and her face was shredded from just hitting concrete. And she woke up. Someone took her to the hospital, and she was drugged. But again, like, how do you're just like, oh, my friends left, I'll have one more drink. Oh, someone offered to pay for a drink. Sure. And I'm going home anyways. Not a big deal. I'm not talking to them. And then she passed out on a scooter. The worst place to be.
Get something that's like a beer with an opening that you can open yourself. I was given something before. I was drugged before.
Really?
I ended up in a really weird situation that night. That's a tale for another time.
Okay.
Probably just us three.
Okay.
That's a upside down twerking moment.
Wow.
That's a Naomi party.
Yeah.
So
I can't host those parties.
you can get free Naxalone kits, commonly known as Narcan kits, in our state through People's Harm Reduction Alliance.
Right.
I ordered one.
I actually have one in my house.
But you need more than one, because I've heard with fentanyl, you may need to administer 4, 5, 6, because fentanyl is so
Wow.
powerful.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
don't just rely on one. But
Mhm.
the way this epidemic is right now, everybody should have an Naxalone on hand so that you can try to save someone who's over.
Oh, do not. Oh, so
Yeah.
It's a nasal
it's a
spray.
nasal that helps. Like, so if you go unconscious from that, it helps.
If you're overdosing,
Right,
Mhm.
right.
it can reverse the effects of
And save your
overdosing.
life.
Yeah, it can
Literally.
save a life.
Again.
Naxalone, commonly known as a Narcan kit. So your state, I don't know what the name of it is in your state, just Google it. But in Washington State, it's the People Harm Reduction Alliance.
And if you're prescribed any type of opiate or high, something like that, you can actually request that. Sometimes they'll give it to you anyways to have just in case. But that's something that can be prescribed to you in like adjunct to something else that you're getting just in case.
And locally, you can also, they're giving them out free at the Spokane Regional Health District as well. So you can go there and get some.
PSA.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it to save a life to have those on hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be stuffing a bunch in Asher's backpack. He'll be like going for his Luna bar and pull out a bunch of
Is it called
Narcan kits.
Narcan? Yeah, Narcan is the word.
Yeah. I mean, Asher's straight edge, which is super fucking cool that still exists.
In
But
high school straight edge, you have the like permanent marker. It's on your hand, like
concerts, like
yeah.
I agree. Like
I don't do drugs. But, I
He's-
didn't, but I also didn't feel like they had to mark them.
it's fucking punk rock. I mean, I'm so proud of him. But he's going to college now. He's going to Gonzaga. Like, I don't know. I think he's a very smart kid. But what if, it's in a soda or it's in a this or that, and he just doesn't suspect.
And the thing is, it's
So
like
I'm just like, pack your own lunches, eat nothing,
Well, and
drink
just-
nothing.
in your household, like just to know, like in my house, if I ever have people, because you don't know what other people bring in too. So if somebody has an
Bring a lot of shit.
emergency, like I would like to know that I have something to at least try to help, because between the time it takes for an ambulance to come, someone can die. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
helpful.
Oh, and something I learned in my research that I thought was really interesting is when you administer Narcan to somebody that's overdosing, they're immediately thrown into withdrawal. So they're gonna
Right.
feel like fucking shit when they come through. Instantly like
Yeah.
shit. Like they're dying and
whoa.
they're gonna hate everything. So I mean,
I'm thinking like Pulp Fiction.
so be
Like, where
prepared
they,
for that.
Put that thing in that.
Oh, yeah.
To restart.
Oh, with
the heart.
adrenaline, yeah. Ooh. Mhm.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
That's such a good
Ooh.
movie. Oh, wait. Do that again, Sarah.
That was
Right.
really good.
Good job. That was amazing.
All right. So if you want to
On that.
support our podcast, please be our patron on Patreon. It's only $1 and it helps pay for our Canned wine.
And let us know if you have any Halloween costume ideas. I have already decided. However, if we get nothing good, I'm gonna wrap her as a mummy. It's just gonna happen. Here, give me this piece of paper.
Doing it.
This is happening. And if not, if you have something better that can be done at home, key.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
We're
DIY.
We're
I'm
good.
crafty.
We're down.
I
We're
don't
down.
like spending a lot of money on Halloween. I just don't.
She
Smart.
wasn't excited at all when I said this, but it's fine. Fine.
If you didn't listen to our last podcast, you should, because we talked about. I talked about professional cuddling. Macie talked about
Nico?
You can't ask me.
Bakanico, the
Ah,
haunted. Was it,
Kasha.
what was the haunted house
Kasha.
in
Well,
Hawaii?
Kasha in the house. I can't. I can't.
Kurumai
I don't
house
want
or
to
something?
slaughter it, but it's about Kasha. But there's a haunted house in Hawaii that is well known for it. I can't. This is too late. I've had a whole can, which is a lot for me, as we've covered. No clubs, no
No
bars, no parties,
Straight edge.
no
I'm
friends,
just
no
waiting.
straight edge without the
I'm just
exes.
waiting for
That's
it to
actually
break
the
bad.
most
It's gonna
the
happen.
most straight edge is not having to advertise it. Until next time.
Don't take candy from strangers.
Get your Narcans.
Get your it's Narcans.
Okay.
It
Get
is
your
Narcans.
Narcans.
And never trust a pixie stick.
Never. That was me jumping with pixie dust powder.